Yeehaw! How about them Cowboys? The boys from the North proved everyone wrong in 2022, but how will they go in 2023? Let's find out.
Man, the Cowboys last year, 30 more points on attack. They're the best attacking team in the comp. 20 less on D, best defensive team in the comp. Like, statistically, they were nearly the best team in the game last year in the regular season, which is absurd because no one had them in the top 8. Like, no one had them anywhere near that. Team's pretty unchanged for this year. They've got Tarmow back, which is really fun. But, no, look, there's nothing that tells me that the Cowboys won't do it again. How about you? How are you feeling about the signings?
Yeah, look, in the way of signings, it's not much. I think Gosiewski's more of a your depth piece. We did lose Condon and Lemuelu and Gilbert, so I think to plug a bit of a hole there, we just signed Gosiewski to, kind of cover for guys like Mitchell Dunn and Lukey who are coming off big ACL injuries. So that's definitely a point of emphasis there. And if Luciano can get his off-field dramas sorted, then we should be fine. But I love having Tarmo back. We were there. You and I. We were there in 2015. He, set up the play the ball that gave my Cowboys a premiership. He played the ball fast, and that's all you needed to do. And I think for the last couple of years, he's been a bit of a journeyman. I think we kind of celebrated his career-ending game. It was a bit like, oh no, let him play. It's his career-ending game. Oh, it might be his last game ever. But I like that he's come home to the Cowboys, and he can probably finish out his career from now. He'll only be a bit of a bench player, similar to the way I see a bit of Ben Hannant was towards the end of that 2015 season. So, yeah, in the way of signings, not much. In the way of losses, yeah, I think we had to compete with the Dolphins a bit because they added that Queensland team there. I think the Broncos have done the same thing, and Gold Coast have also given a bit to that Dolphins side to kind of bolster it a little bit. But I don't think we gave away too many first-rate players that we used last year, aside from, and this is going to be the big one for me, Hamaso. I mean, I'm so annoyed that Hamaso, we couldn't fit him into the team anywhere, but I think he just lost a bit of confidence, and I really want to see him do well because I don't want to see it become another Gideon Jella-Mosby situation where he just had all the talent in the world, but he just couldn't make it work.
He gets to play fullback there as well. So, I mean, that's where he wants to play. Drinkwater he went from being a guy who couldn't crack the team to maybe a top 5 fullback in the game, according to some people. He's about 8th for me. But, he's just a super talented player. So if I'm looking at this Cowboys team, then you're looking at teams like Penrith, Parramatta, the Roosters, all these other teams that are being talked about as comp winners. What's the big strength for the Cowboys for you?
I think it's that added mental toughness of going through it the year before, and then I would say we've got good young talent with a bunch of old hard heads. So when you look at it with Chad Townsend coming in, Chatty Daddy coming in, he really leveled off the team and gave him a good mindset. He really unlocked Dearden. Dearden, no one thought that Dearden was a good signing, and he came in and Dearden's just got so much confidence. I think that's a tribute to Todd Payton as well. He's got these guys thinking that, we can actually do this. Because last year they went out there and no one gave them a shot. Everyone wrote them off. And it's about dealing with those expectations this year as well, because I think a bunch of people are going to have them a bit better. But I would say the young forward pack is a big strength, whilst also having that level-headedness in the halves.
I'm going to throw another question at you then. Where did the Cowboys finish in 2021?
15th.
15th. Okay, so 15th to 3rd. Is there a return to the mean? Because this is my question for the Cowboys this year. You look at Dearden, you look at Drinkwater, you look at Robson, all made enormous leaps last year. Is there a situation where people have seen the film on these guys, they've seen the attack the Cowboys have, and they now go, all right, we can pre-plan for that, and the Cowboys normalize back to, say, 6th or 7th or 8th?
Look, I don't think attack towards the end of our year was the problem, because you think that most teams would figure that out by the end of the year last year. And I don't think attack was our issue towards the end of last year. It became more about how can we keep going with our good defensive strategy, because in the early part of last year, we were killing teams on defense. And, we watched that game against Para in the Northern Territory, and Para couldn't get over the line, and we put on 30 points in the last 5 minutes. And that's how we kind of ground teams down. It's the way Penrith have been doing it. So I think we're taking a little bit from each of those teams that have been so successful in the last couple of years to then, distribute it to our young players and say, have the confidence to dummy and go, or have the confidence to run. Guys like Cotter took a huge step last year, and no one was talking about him before the season started. He ended up playing 80 minutes in an Origin game. I mean, just ridiculous numbers for some of these young kids that you didn't think, had any semblance or any right to be out there. They just absolutely killed it. I was so proud to be a Cowboys fan last year.
Man. Ruben Cotter spent periods of that season in reserve grade.
Yeah.
Robson was never an 80-minute player heading into last year. Taumalolo came off a season where he was playing 45 minutes a game or something. Everyone was questioning his contract. Like Jeremiah Nanai. Who was he? Who was he? Who was Lukey? Like, who were these guys? It's crazy, but I just want to know if they can maintain that level, because you sometimes do see that explosion onto the scene. You saw, I'm a Parramatta fan, so I'm going to refer to Tim Smith's legendary season in his first year. And you can see guys take that big spike and then drop back a bit. And they face a few setbacks and it's not the same thing. Even a guy like Drinkwater, I'm really intrigued to see how he turns up this year. But the thing is, I can't point to any faults in these guys. Like, they are so hardworking. They clearly train really hard. Peyton's an awesome coach. They're all doing the right things. So for that reason, I'm saying they're either the minor premiers or the runner-up minor premiers this year. I think they've just got the depth in their roster, in their forward pack backline, to win consistently, especially through Origin. But I've got them failing in the prelims.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, just because from what I saw last year, I feel like they're ready to take the next step, and the next step for me is Grand Final Day again. So I think they're getting back there for the first time since 2017. Grand Final Day, they will be there. North Queensland Cowboys versus, you'll have to wait and see in our previews later, but for me, think that they will get over in that prelim final, because it's the genuine next step to take. And I think Todd Payton's got the know-how to be able to get there. He did it as a player, and he's going to do it as a coach.
It's big. That's big. Are you going to buy Grand Final tickets when they go on sale? Miles, mate, if you're going to make this prediction, you got to do it.
I mean, I've got some bold predictions out there in the ethos already, but, Grand Final tickets, I'm always happy to go to a Grand Final regardless of my team's in it or not, but I think they'll be there.
I respect that. See, I guess my question for them is that finals experience. So they came up against Parramatta last year, and Para were far from their best, but it just felt like Para had a bit more in the tank in terms of attacking creativity, and Para would face setbacks, but they were sort of able to bounce back, whereas the Cowboys seemed a little frazzled. You're right that maybe that step is what they take. This year, being there last year might have gotten them there. There was some dodgy stuff in that game too.
Yeah, I look at it as it was two soft tries to Regan Campbell-Gillard that just killed it.
Soft try.
They were soft tries.
He is the epitome of offensive play in the front row. Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Just like when you said Luke Douglas was a magician. Anyway,
mate, magic is staying on the field.
Okay,
but all right, no, Cowboys potential grand finalists. Potentially out in the prelims. We both rate them very highly, so really keen to see what they do this year. Let us know in the comments where you think the Cowboys will finish, and if you think that Miles is right and they could be fighting for a title.